Um, I'm going to go back. I said I wouldn't, but uh, I'll go to in the oblivious field of mortal mind because it's so powerful. I'd like us to hear it again. In the oblivious field of mortal mind, revealed to the closed prophet eyes of trance, or in some deep internal solitude, witnessed by a strange immaterial sense, the signals of eternity appear. And that's the key here. See that whole sentence, beginning within the oblivious field, is just one sentence to take us to the point where we can read, the signals of eternity appear. And what are those signals? One, the truth mind could not know unveils its face. Early on, people thought it was the truth mind, but that's not correct. It's the truth mind could not know unveils its face. We hear, second, what mortal ears have never heard. Third, we feel what earthly sense has never felt. We love what common hearts repel and dread. Our minds hush to a bright omniscient. A voice calls from the chambers of the soul. We meet the ecstasy of the Godhead's touch in golden privacies of immortal fire. And I believe I mentioned last time that the British people call it privacy, not privacies. What are these signs? He's just given us all these signs. We hear, we feel, we love, our minds, and we meet. So these signs are native to a larger self. Some people say to our larger self. No, it's to a larger self that lives within us, by ourselves unseen. Only sometimes a holier influence comes, and a tide of mightier surgings bears our lives, and a diviner presence moves the soul. I think all of us have felt this from time to time. And some of us have also forgotten it from time to time. The world is going through so much. This thing yesterday, day before, with all these people killed in Moscow, 60 people killed, 150 wounded, and it's said to be, at least to have a long letter from Vladimir saying that it was Putin himself who had those people killed. Had nothing to do with Ukraine. And he said ISIS is an arm of Russia. I didn't know that. Anyway, back to the important things. Or through the earthly coverings, something breaks. A grace and beauty of spiritual light, the murmuring tongue of a celestial fire. And then this very, very important 5 lines, or a little more actually. Our self and a high stranger whom we feel. Who is this high stranger? Yes, it's divine presence in us, psychic being. It is and acts as if it were not. Why? Because it follows the line of sempiternal birth, yet seems to perish with its mortal frame. Well, sempiternal is everlasting, enduring forever. Assured of the apocalypse to be. And here I have to pause a little bit, because Nolini tells me the finality that is to happen, the divine manifestation. Supramental. See, he's telling us here, very early in Savitri, already what's going to happen. I spoke with Alok on this, and he says it's a revelation, a lifting of the veil of ignorance for a while, giving admittance to a deeper knowledge and disclosure of hidden truths. These experiences begin to occur in the consciousness that is being lifted out of the ignorant state towards the freedom of the spirit. Assured of the apocalypse to be, it reckons not the moments and the hours. Great, patient, calm, it sees the centuries pass, awaiting the slow miracle of our change. In the sure, deliberate process of world force and the long march of all-revealing time. So we see here this aspect of timelessness, of eternity, that we rarely feel because we have our day-to-day problems, our inner struggles, but this soul, this self, and part of the psychic being reckons not the moments and the hours, because it's great, patient, calm, and it even sees the centuries pass. Oh, how beautiful, huh? Sees the centuries pass. What is it waiting for? Awaiting the slow miracle of our change in the sure, deliberate process of world force and the long march of all-revealing time. Time will reveal everything when it chooses to. It is the origin and the master clue. A silence overhead, an inner voice, a living image seated in the heart, an unwalled wideness, and a fathomless point. The truth of all these cryptic shows in space. Well, Sri Aurobindo is telling us here that what we have just read is the origin of man's evolution. It's the master clue. And what is there? There's a silence overhead. There's an inner voice that speaks to us. There's even a living image seated in the heart. And that, of course, is the psychic being. No avatar before Sri Aurobindo and Mother had mentioned this psychic being. In fact, Sri Aurobindo coined the word. An unwalled wideness, and a fathomless point, unwalled, of course, not closed in. The truth of all these cryptic shows in space. Cryptic here is puzzling, ambiguous, mysterious in meaning. The real towards which our strivings move. Oh, the secret, grandiose meaning of our lives. So we have to go through the real again and again. From the life divine. From our ascending point of view, we may say that the real is behind all that exists. It expresses itself intermediately in an ideal, he capitalizes the I, in an ideal which is a harmonized truth of itself. The ideal throws out a phenomenal reality of variable conscious being which inevitably draws towards its own essential reality, tries at last to recover it entirely, whether by a violent leap or normally through the ideal which put it forth. Now, this is interesting because this violent leap, I talked with Nolini about this. And he said that, in fact, he wrote it in one of his many books. People don't know about all of his books. He's written 8 volumes in one go. Well, so he says, to reach the supramental, we may have to go down a step because the mind is the ivory tower that we speak about. And we might have to go into the higher vital to make that leap. Very interesting observation from him. How we do that, I have no idea yet. The real towards which our strivings move. The secret, grandiose meaning of our lives. And we've spoken before about grandiose, and we understand now that it's greatness of scope, or grand, never in a pejorative sense. And then these marvelous lines. A treasure of honey in the combs of God, a splendor burning in a tenebrous coke. It is our glory of the flame of God, our golden fountain of the world's delight, an immortality cowled in the cape of death, the shape of our unborn divinity. This is a little complex, but so we look at it. This real towards which we move is no doubt the secret, grand, great meaning of our lives. And what is it? Well, it's a treasure of honey in the combs of God. Sri Aurobindo has a section in one of his poems where he speaks about the bee tasting the honey and the honey tasting the bee. And you remember it, huh? So beautiful. So, it's also a splendor burning in a tenebrous cloak. Tenebrous, always dark and gloomy. It is our glory of the flame of God. What else is it? Our golden fountain of the world's delight. What else? An immortality cowled in the cape of death. The best definition of cowled is hooded. We know the monks in many of the Western monasteries wear a cap that covers most of their ears down to their neck, and that's a cowl. It's not a caul, C-A-U-L, it's C-O-W-L. The shape of our unborn divinity. What does it do? It guards for us our fate in depths within, where sleeps the eternal seed of transient things. Now, it can't be a more beautiful line. This seed. Do we see the oak tree in its seed? No, we see a seed. It has to germinate, it has to grow, it has to have water and nutrients. So here we see that the eternal seed of transient things is sleeping in us, in our depths within. And these are lines that are so beautiful to me that I memorized many years ago, but no longer. Always we bear in us a magic key, concealed in life's hermetic envelope. Something that is hermetic, well, it has many, many definitions. In the occult sciences, it's magical, alchemic, and often in science it's something made airtight by fusion or sealing. But I feel it's pretty much not affected by outward influence or power, isolated. Concealed in life's hermetic envelope. A burning witness in the sanctuary. What is the burning witness in the sanctuary?
Psychic fire.
The psychic fire, Agni, absolutely. Regards through time and the blind walls of form. This is an interesting line because this burning witness is looking through time, and it's looking through these blind walls of form. Now, why is the form blind?
The form is blind. Why is the form?
Yeah, the form is blind. Can I see the divine in you? Can I see the divine in any of you? No, I can't, because the form is hiding what we really are within.
Veiled.
It's veiled, exactly. And we have to break open those blind walls of form. So, in the letters on yoga, Sri Aurobindo says, form is the basic means of manifestation. There we are. He says it so beautifully. And without it, it may be said that the manifestation of anything is not complete. Even if the formless logically precedes the form, yet it is not illogical to assume that in the formless, form is inherent and already existent in a mystic latency. Otherwise, how could it be manifest? So, from the formless comes form. And we are that form, that evolving form. I'll read a couple more things for you because this is so important. From Essays on the Gita. Each form is a symbol of some divine power, vibhuti, concealed in it, and to the seeing eye Each finite carries in it its own revelation of the infinite. Now, you see that he mentions the seeing eye, not the normal eye, the eye that sees through experience immediately. It's in the second realm of spiritual consciousness. From the Upanishads, practically, therefore, all form is only an operation of consciousness, impressing itself with presentations of its own workings. Another letter on yoga. Forms on earth do not last. They do in other planes. Isn't that something, huh? They do in other planes. And this is what we're seeing with these, we should never say aliens, but extraterrestrial beings who are with us now on earth, who sometimes even come and meet us. There are so many books of people who have met them, spoken with them, been in their vehicles, gone to their planets, and come back with that experience. And actually, Oroville is made for that. Absolutely correct. Now, Mother says something, and I'll end there. And ultimately, all form is a symbol. All forms. Our form is a symbol, not a very brilliant one, I admit. A timeless light is in his hidden eyes. He sees the secret things no words can speak, and knows the goal of the unconscious world, and the heart of the mystery of the journeying years. Oh, these lines are so mystical.
Today is Maundy Thursday and this Holy Week.
Oh, Maundy Thursday, right, and tomorrow's Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and then Easter.
Splendor burning in tenebrous flow, where the Sacred Heart is shown. So I feel little bit similar.
Okay, to the Christian feeling, yes.
Yeah, I feel those lines.
Sri Aurobindo is very generous about Christ as an avatar. Mother not so much, but Sri Aurobindo, yes. A timeless light is in his hidden eyes. He sees the secret things no word can speak. Because the moment we use a word, we are in the falsehood. The silence, the depth of calm, the peace, all these things are so far above the word. But C.S. Lewis, in one of his great poems, says that there must be the word looking over the present into the future. It was during the war, of course, when England was being bombed. And knows the goal of the unconscious world, and the heart of the mystery of the journeying years. But all is screened, subliminal, mystical. Look at these words. All is screened, subliminal, mystical. Well, when it's subliminal, it's the parts of the being that are not on the waking surface. Mystical, of course, we know that something is mystical, or at least we think we know. It needs the intuitive heart, the inward turn. It needs the power of a spiritual gaze. Wow. Else, to our waking minds, small moment look, a goalless voyage seems our dubious course. Some chance has settled or hazarded some will. And I have a lot to go through. Or a necessity without aim or cause, unwillingly compelled to emerge and be. So what Sri Aurobindo is saying here is that no matter what we feel, the new world is going to happen. The supramental is already here. We think because we see so much evil and horror, so much war, we think that maybe the Asuric forces have the upper hand, but they don't. When Mary Helen asked Madhav Pandit about her dream of Sri Aurobindo being only 2 feet tall, he answered her by saying, you see, he's coming out of the earth in the supramental body. And then he goes up into the subtle physical with the mother, and they will both come back in their supramental bodies. And he says, built in the supramental way. There'll be no more digestion system. There'll be no sex, either male or female. There will be no emissions. No bowels, no urine. We just can't see that right now. It's too vast for us. But it will happen. But it needs the power of a spiritual gaze.